I want to bring in Katie McFarland, who has long experience with our Iran problem. Good morning, Katie.
Good morning.
Are we on the brink of war?
We are.
Are we headed for war?
We don't know. The Iranians are at war with us. They've been at war with us since the Iranian Revolution, and their goal is America out of the Middle East, death to Israel, kill all the Jews. So they've not wavered. Now, are we on the brink of war? What I'm worried about is what you're worried about. Right now, the Biden administration is still, well, we want to appease them. We don't want to drift into something. We're going to placate them. But by that attitude, in fact, they're encouraging war, because Iran and Iran's proxies is a little bit more every day, a little bit more intense, frequent. And at some point, a missile is going to get through the defensive perimeter. And then you have mass casualties, American mass casualties. And then we're in a war we don't want. We don't know how to fight, and we could have avoided.
What happens if the Iranians announce they've got nuclear capability?
Everything changes, because it's not just Iran. It's Saudi Arabia has already said if Iran gets nukes, we get nukes. Now, Iran's making them at home. They're building their own nuclear weapons. Saudi Arabia buys them. They buy them from Pakistan, from somebody else. Then Turkey will say, well, if they have them, I need my nukes too. And so then you have a nuclear arms race in the most dangerous part of the world.
That is a very frightening prospect.
It is what everybody I used to teach nuclear weapons at MIT 40 years ago. And that's what everybody always worried about, was the proliferation of nuclear weapons in the hands of countries that really are happy to use them. And what we've seen with Iranian proxies on October 7th is the Iranians don't care about mass casualties of Israelis. So the normal hesitation of world powers isn't going to work with Iran. They're not a responsible player.
U.S. and Arab allies are trying to push through a plan to release the hostages and end the war on Israel. Any chance of success for that?
You know, I am so tired of the United States government, regardless of administration, going around to other countries and saying, this is how we want you to do things. This is the government we want you to have. You should have democracy. You should have elections just like ours. Did we not learn in Vietnam and Afghanistan and Libya and Iraq? Let the guys in the region figure it out. Let the Israelis figure it out. Let them finish their job. Let them work with other countries in the region to end this war at a time of their own choosing, and let them pay for it at the end of the day.
Our relationship with Netanyahu has fallen to pieces, hasn't it?
Yeah, but again, it's because the Biden administration is trying to boss him around and tell him what kind of a government he should have, how he should fight his war. That's not, Israel right now is united. There are no peaceniks left in Israel after those attacks. And then the other thing that I think is worth talking about is we're there to protect freedom of navigation and trade in the sea, right? Freedom of the seas. Who's free? Who trades on the north in that area? Who trades in the Red Sea? So that's Europe to Asia, Asia to Europe. Why should we alone have to defend those seas? We should have every other European country in there standing together with us, saying we together are going to make sure that we have freedom of navigation. And if we all have to go after the Houthis, fine, but go after the source of it. Go after where are those missiles being fired from. Don't just do perimeter defense and hope that you're going to catch one as it just about hits the ship. Go take it out in the region. So far, that hasn't been Iran proper. It's been Iran's proxies. That I would wait to do Iran proper.
You know what you're talking about.
Thank you.
What a delight having you on the program.
Thank you, Stu.
Katie, many thanks indeed.
Thank you.